Before you will say anything, I will be laughing.
So I think Yogesh bhai, let's start. Yogesh bhai,
Yes.
it's
Let us
time.
start.
People have their schedules.
Rachna, please begin. We can mute ourselves.
Yeah, let's all mute ourselves.
All right. Is it seen? The bell is seen. I'm calling the meeting to order. Let's all rise for national anthem, please. Let me just share my screen. Yeah. Share screen. Right. A very warm welcome to DG Sunil, PDG Ajay Gupta, DRR Ojas Joshi, Project Director Yogesh Javeri, De-Addiction Committee members, co-host club presidents, Rotarians, Rotractors, and all participants. I would also like to thank Gaurang and the project director Yogesh Zaveri for giving us this opportunity to
IPP Harjit also. IPP Harjit.
Okay, IPP, I would also like to welcome IPP Harjit Singh Talwarji for this very wonderful seminar. I would begin by introducing PDG Ajay Gupta ji and Yogesh Javeri for this wonderful de-addiction seminar. Yogesh Zaveri is a charter member of Rotary Club of Mumbai Ghatkopar from 1985, that is since 35 years. He was the president of RC Mumbai Ghatkopar in 1993-94. He has been vocational team leader to Belgium for studying de-addiction projects and understanding Unplugged, a school based on prevention program at Ghent University in Rotary year 2012-13. He has been to all district posts except being a district governor. He has executed 2 3H grants and many global grants. Currently, he is having 4 approved grants, including 1 for de-addiction projects. He has been the founder member and regional director for Rotary Action Group Addiction Prevention International. He has established and invited PRIP Kalyan Banerjee to chair Indian chapter of Rotary Action Group Addiction Prevention, where 20 districts of India are now actively involved. He has in past few years conducted several workshops for training of primary health professionals for treatment of addicts. Currently, he is heading a project director of de-addiction committee of RID 3141. Now, I would like to introduce PDG Ajay Gupta ji. PDG Ajay is an ever smiling, innovative, hardworking, dedicated, passionate Rotarian and a compassionate human being. A good student, having been completed an engineering with a distinction, an entrepreneur, a technocrat. He established his own unit in 1986 in the sophisticated tool room field using precision CNC machines. He also holds other diversified business interests. Ajay entered Rotary as the charter president of RC of Rotary Club of Bombay Pier and brought together a number of like and service-minded young citizens to initiate and form a very vibrant and strong club. He has held number of positions in the district and excelled in all of them. He has been a speaker at multitude of seminars and programs in many districts on varied Rotary and other subjects. He has been awarded with a number of citations and appreciation awards, distinguished service awards, etc. a number of times. RI recognized his immense contribution by conferring on him 4 avenues of service citation award in 2008, 2009, and the highest Rotary award, Service Above Self, in 2009, 2010. He is known as the WOW District Governor, who has received many accolades and awards from Rotary International for his achievements and unique new ideas, creating new paradigms. He has been a strong supporter of the Rotary Foundation and has been a prolific fund collector for projects, etc. RID 3140 achieved number one position in India and number 4 in the world for TRF collections under his leadership. He has held multiple senior positions in the Rotary world since completing his Rotary governorship. His articulate, ever smiling wife Ranjo is a BA honors in psychology. Their daughter Kanika is an MBA qualified from Booth University of Chicago, working as a consultant with Boston Consulting Group, and son Ashank has completed his MBA in finance, working with Royal Bank of Scotland as an investment consultant. Now, I would like to hand over to PDG Ajay Gupta ji and Yogesh Javeri ji to carry to take the session further. Thank you.
So Yogesh bhai, you're going first or I'm going first. You can unmute yourself. We can do it together also. We have that kind of understanding.
Yeah, Ajay, you will be trying to talk about the purpose for this webinar today.
Yeah.
And a little bit about REG-AP, Rotary Action Group Addiction Prevention, where you are very, very active PDG from 3141.
Okay, friends, firstly, welcome to this program, very, very important program. And I must thank DG Sunil to be here in spite of very, very hectic schedule. And I think, Sunil, in the evening, you should relax with a drink in your hand and you know, clap for yourself for having done a good job in the morning and then being here with all of us. Well, friends, I must tell you one thing that today we are going to talk about something which is extremely important. It's important not only for India, but for the whole world, I would say. And I'll just take you back a few years when this whole thing started. And that was in the year 2014-15 when I was the governor. And I touched base with Yogesh bhai that Yogesh bhai, what would you like to do in the district? And he could have had any position he would want, except my position, which was the district governor, which was I was not willing to give that up. And he told me that, Ajay, see, I have gone through this program Unplugged, and he explained to me, I didn't know anything about Unplugged, and he explained to me, and I realized that what a deep meaning this program has, and what far-reaching effect it can have in the Mahima, can you mute yourself, please? Mahima, you are unmuted. So, thank you. So, far-reaching effect which is there of this program. And we started developing the program. And I must tell you one thing, I put a lot of challenges in front of Yogesh. And this was not the only one. There were many of them, and he excelled in each one of them. But this program is something which I must tell you is mainly his brainchild. Of course, I did give him the impetus in terms of free hand to work with it and full support from the district. But the way Yogesh Bhai works, the support comes on its own because he takes up extremely meaningful projects. So the project was that he decided in this part of the project is that he would like to train MBBS doctors in Mumbai, especially the ones working in slums, to be able to, it was a multi-pronged effort to be able to identify addicts. Now, addicts would mean we were looking at substance abuse addicts. So identify those addicts. Then the doctors were trained how to psychologically and medically treat those patients and their families. Now, this is a very important part. It's not only the addict themselves who needs to be treated, but the family also has to be counseled. So the whole program is a very wholesome program. There were very good agencies involved. TIFR, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, also joined in, and a lot of other people joined in when they realized that there is a platform being created where we will have the first we'll have the first line of defense. And the first line of defense, my friends, was these MBBS doctors. Now, I'm very happy to say the year got over. He did about 200, 250. And what we did is, I was able to connect him with a few more people. And with his connections, we were able to get in even pharmaceutical companies which were ready to give free drugs for treating these patients. Now, there are a number of drugs available. I mean, what I mean by drugs is medicines available for treating this patient. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be tobacco, all substance abuses. There is something available. So I'm forgetting the name of the company, Yogesh Bhai. It's coming to me, but yeah.
Rozan Pharma.
Rozan Pharma. So even the MD came and they also appreciated our efforts and they gave free medicines for treating these patients initially. And they still are willing to work with us and they're willing to work across India also. Now, here is where the success story lies. Today, we can proudly say that in Mumbai itself, correct my figures if they're wrong, Yogesh Bhai, between 1,200 to 1,500 doctors today in the last 5 years are trained to be able to be the first line of defense. Yogesh Bhai, am I right about that?
Yeah,
figures?
yes.
Yeah. So just imagine the far-reaching effect you have, that you have these people working at the grassroots level to ensure that the addict gets cured, and after that doesn't slip back into addiction, because that is the easiest thing. You may get an addict out for some time, but you have to keep him out all the time. That is the tough part, my friends. Now, last year when Yogesh Bhai approached me and he said, there is he's part of an international group, which is action group, which is there on addiction, prevention of addiction. That international group is there. Now, what we realized is that substance abuse is one part of addiction. There are so many other addictions which are there. For example, different forms of addiction of the internet, of computers, and gaming, etc., etc., etc. Now, we may think that only substance abuse damages the family and the person. But believe me, my friends, all these addictions have the same effect. They affect the abuser by ruining their mental, physical, complete being as a person, and it ruins the whole family. Now, obviously, the substance abuse you will feel, creates problems with the families to a great extent. Yes, it does, because there is losses which is happening. The abuser can, resort to cheating, robbing the family outside. So many things happen. And then to get them back, it is very difficult. Plus, there is a loss of livelihood because that person becomes not a useful person. But similar thing also happens with abuse on the other level. Now, you know about that Blue Whale program which happened, and it was in the news all over the place, that there were youngsters committing suicide. What was that? That was addiction to some sort of gaming, some sort of thing which was happening. And sometimes, can you believe this? When it was studied, this Blue Whale thing was just a myth. But the addiction to that information, somebody doing more and more research on a fake news, was causing them to react and act as they were doing. So friends, this is what happened. And then he told me that we'll work on this. And we were lucky that we got a patron in terms of Rotary International, past Rotary International President Kalyan Banerjee, who was willing to come forward. And we have also our present TRF trustee, Ghulam Manvati, there with us. So they were willing to come and work in this subject and gather the people. Now, Kalyanda carries immense amount of bandwidth as far as the whole world is concerned and as far as India is concerned. So we decided that we will make an India chapter for this particular working with these addictions. And you'll be surprised to know, my friends, there are a lot of agencies who are doing a lot of research, but they don't have a common platform. But this is where Rotary comes into the play. We are trying to create a common platform where all of us can gather and work towards fighting all these addictions. Now, there are many ways to fight it, and as we progress, you will understand that. And the basic thing is that it's a very well-structured and a scientific approach. It's not that we are just doing anything at any time. It's not that. We are following a very, very scientific, systematic approach because we are professionals from the field here. Yogesh Bhai himself today can qualify as a professional from the field because he has been trained in Belgium under Operation Unplugged, and he is working deeply with the international body of Rotarians as far as addictions are concerned. So friends, the whole idea was that on pan-India level, we do programs. We structure programs in such a way that we are able to reach the most common person to try and wean them away from addiction. But wean them away from addiction is one part of the program. The other part of the program is not to allow people to fall for addiction. Now that is where we are lucky to have the Rotractors here with us. We should have the Interactors also with us because that's where it starts from at a very young age. And I was surprised to note when I've attended some of these seminars, and they've been real eye-openers. Believe me, when you attend them, you'll be shocked at what levels it is. That young children of between 7 to 9 and 10 are also addicted to many things. And especially, of course, they're addicted to things like the internet and all, and how they are manipulated and exploited through the net. But besides that, I remember that in 2013, I did 2012-13. I did a camp in just Bhiwandi area in schools for dental checkup. And you will not believe, my friends, 10% of those children in schools, young children, had a dental problem due to gutka addiction. Now, can you believe what I'm saying? Gutka addiction. It's very shocking when you hear all these things. And this was in one area. So you can imagine the number of abusers across the world. Now, sometimes I'll tell you what happens. At a very young age, when children are creating a lot of issues and the parents are not able to look after it, sometimes the mom gives a little bit of afim to keep the child quiet and make them sleep. That becomes an addiction. So many other things are happening, and that happens in lower stratas of society in a big way because the parent has to go out and work. And how to keep the child quiet and how to keep the child disciplined. This is what they do. But there are so many other misuses of substances which cause addictions, my friends. So we are trying to formulate a program on a pan-India basis which would help all our youngsters and the people who are older, who are in addictions. It's not only that addictions afflict the young people, but we catch them young in terms of not allowing them to go to addiction. I don't know how many of you are aware that today in Punjab, a very rich state, one of the major problems is addiction of the youngsters. And what they say, whole generation, puri nasal barbad ho rahi hai. And this is a pointed program which is there by our enemies of our state to try and nasl ko barbad karna so that they can have more control over us. Now, this is where we need to work on to ensure that the control comes back in the hands of us so that our young people do not go into these different addictions. Mind you, the internet addiction can cause a lot of secrets of the country and of the person themselves going out. There are so many other things. There are wheels within wheels. And as you participate in these programs, and please do take it forth to your club members, hold programs. I think Yogesh Bhai would be willing to hold programs at the district level, at the club level, with experts who will come and talk to you about what these addictions are, how to prevent them. You can have programs in your schools, colleges, where you can ensure that the young generation does not fall into addiction. So we do a double pronged attack. One is don't allow them to fall in, and the other is to get those people out. And the third one is to ensure that the ones who have been brought out don't go back in. I think, my friends, I wish you all the best in this very, very important subject program, which is this de-addiction program, which we are making through this circle of friends we are creating within the Rotary world across the country. Thank you very much for listening to me patiently, and wish you the best. Yogesh Bhai, all yours now.
Thank you, Ajay, for setting the ground for the today's seminar or webinar. I have a pleasure of inviting District Governor Sunil Mehra, and Sunil in the current year hardly requires any introduction, but I would like to say few words that ever smiling, well-groomed, very, very visionary, and for the first time, a lot of new programs are seen by district. The kind of challenging year which Harjit had left for him, and the way in which he is trying to perform in the vision year. Salute to you, Sunil, and particularly today morning's conclave was a amazing work being done by you and your leadership and your team. Definitely, it's going to pave way for more projects and more funding by the corporates for all of us to be active and serve the society. Sunil, I would like you to talk about the importance of de-addiction, and that's how you have formed for the first time a very big committee under me for the de-addiction, and we are definitely going to do a purposeful activity and make the difference for the youngsters. Particularly today, almost 6 hours of a day, we are seeing on the TV channels what kind of addiction problem is being faced by particularly our Mumbai city, Bollywood, and as a whole, as a country. So, under the circumstances, the importance of this subject is far more realized by everyone. And today, as Ajay was saying that the interactor should be there, on the YouTube, there are more than 150 to 200 youngsters from 9th and 10th standard who are seeing our program. Our program is right now live at Facebook and YouTube also. We have selected guests only on Zoom platform, but all the other uh, participants are there on the YouTube and Facebook. Over to you, Sunil.
Thank you, Yogesh. Thank you so much. This is, of course, your brainchild. We're just supporting what you're doing. Like correctly, like Ajay put it, it did start. And I remember, I think, Ajay, it was in uh, Jayesh's office. Jayesh Vidhani's office, Excelsior Cinema, where
Yes.
Yogesh came and presented the entire papers first, discussed it all.
Yes.
I think Arjeet was also there at that particular time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So we remember this day, and your passion for this has never unstinted, Yogeshi. So great work. All we can do at the district level is support the good things that you do. Uh, so even this morning's program was not just me; it was super teamwork, and they've been, of course, burning a lot of midnight oil over this, and hopefully it should be successful. Today's seminar may have been successful, but the fruit, of course, will be how many companies and corporates really get attached to Rotary in the long run. IPDG Harjeet, PDG Ajay, Admin Director Yogesh, DRR Ojas also, so I'm here. Dear visionary presidents and my Rotarian friends. So what is addiction? For me, it is a distinction between use and abuse. For example, inability to stop consuming a chemical, drug, activity, or then probably a substance, even though it is causing some psychological and physical harm, is an addiction, and that's an abuse. However, the same substance can also be used sometimes under medical supervision for the purpose of health-related issues. That, of course, is use. The internet is a platform for education also. Knowledge, information, business, and networking. And for the above purpose, it is deemed as using the facility. But to be glued to it 24/7, 365 days is an abuse and an addiction. Zoom is a medium, but to be constantly on the net is a problem. Like some of us, consumption of alcohol, one or two in the evening is in moderate quantity, can be, maybe deemed to be a use. And those who get intoxicated is well an addiction and an abuse. So the term addiction does not only refer to dependence on substances like heroin or other such drugs. I believe a person who cannot stop taking a particular drug or then a chemical has a substance dependence. And for that matter, compulsive consumption of rated drinks could be an addiction. Some addictions also involve an inability to stop partaking in activities, maybe such as gambling, eating, or working, and in the lighter vein, as IPDG mentioned, bridge. In these circumstances, a person has a behavioral addiction. So when a person experiences addiction, they cannot take control how they use the substance or partake in an activity, and they become dependent upon it to cope with daily life. Most people start by using a drug or first engage in an activity voluntarily to try it out, peer pressure. However, addiction can take over and reduce self-control. So what's the difference between addiction and misuse? Drug addiction and drug misuse are different. Misuse refers to the incorrect, excessive, or then therapeutic use of body. However, not everybody that misuses a substance has an addiction. Addiction is a long-term inability to moderate or cease intake. For example, a person who drinks alcohol heavily on a night, maybe one night out, may experience both the euphoric and harmful effects of the substance. However, this does not qualify as an addiction until the person feels the need to consume this amount of alcohol regularly, alone, or when it is likely to impair irregular activities such as get up with a hangover in the morning. A person who has not yet developed an addiction may be put off rather, with further use by the harmful side effects that one is told about with awareness, and etc. For example, if somebody vomits or wakes up with a hangover after drinking too much alcohol, may deter some people from drinking that amount anytime soon. What could be the symptoms? The primary indications of addiction are uncontrollably engaging in harmful levels of habit-forming behavior, neglecting or the losing interest in activities that do not involve the harmful substance also in the behavior. Relationships, difficulties which often involve lashing out at people. These are some behaviors. An inability to stop using a drug, thought it might be causing a health problem or then personal problems. Profound changes in the appearance, the behavior, increased risk taking, both to access the substance, do some illogical, illegal things, or then the activity while using it for engaging it. What are the effects of withdrawal? When a person has an addiction and they stop taking the substance or engaging the behavior, they may experience certain symptoms. These symptoms are like anxiety, irritability, tremors, loss of appetite, and so on and so forth. If a person has regularly used alcohol and they stop suddenly, I understand sometimes withdrawal can be fatal. Treatments, what can be kind of treatments? Of course, Yogesh Bhai would be knowing much more. Addiction treatment is highly personalized and often requires the support of the individual community or then the family. That's a very important part for de-addiction. Treatment can take long and may be complicated too. To summarize, what are the understandings of addiction? Addiction is a serious chronic dependence on a substance or activity. A person with an addiction is unable to stop taking a substance or engaging in a behavior, though it could be and is harmful on effects that you kind of experience on daily living. However, treatment often involves counseling, medication, community support. The best way to help someone is to establish trust in that person, so they will believe that you have their best interest in your mind. Make sure that any conversation about your concerns does not occur while they are under the influence, because they could have a huge reaction. In fact, let me end rhetorically. We need to be addicted to help the cause of helping others to get de-addicted. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. With your last remark, I must salute you. Get addicted to de-addict people.
Very, very, very beautifully you have put regarding abuse and use. I think there's a beautiful analogy what you have given.
Correct. And basically, as we see it, addiction is a disease and treatable. Only efforts are required. And what our speaker for today evening is going to talk about that in detail. So I am leaving it to him for covering that point. But we have with us a very young leader, district Rotary representative, Ojas Joshi. Very highly qualified, enthusiastic, smart boy, trying to ensure that the synergy of Rotary with the Rotary gets well developed and grooming Rotaractors to become Rotarians in future. I would like Ojas to say a few words about this subject, and thankfully to him, we have a number of Rotaractors who are participating today in our webinar. Thank you, Ojas, and welcome to you for expressing your views.
Okay, so I don't think I can speak a lot after both Ajay sir as well as Sunil sir have spoken, and I don't think I'm qualified enough to speak so much on this topic. But what I'll say is that what gets me interested is that yes, the youth of today. I think PDG Ajay mentioned about a lot of places in Punjab. The movie Udta Punjab was actually about the drugs and the racket around that in the entire city of Punjab that affects majority of the youth over there. And it's true for city like Bombay also. So I think for me the interesting thing is to ensure that if nobody else, at least our Rotaract community members and all our friends of the Rotaract community members. So if I do 8,000 plus, assuming 5 friends, at least if these number of people we can make them aware and make ensure that they said that those who are addicted, ensure that how can they come out of this addiction, and of course prevention of this addiction. So I really like the action group that has been created at the India level, and would like to understand further about that maybe later, so that maybe we could create an action group here in Bombay and support whatever initiative and cause has to be done across the country. And very happy to get all the Rotaractors from across India on board for this, because it's something that affects all our lives in some way or the other. And this was something new that I learned today, was about the internet addiction. I know that we are at least my generation and the next generation, we are an internet crazy generation, because the need to be connected online is always there. And of course, this year our entire year is online, be it anyone, be it Rotaract or off Rotaract. So somewhere I think internet addiction is a very true thing, and I learned it from a movie also called Social Dilemma, which actually talks about how mobile applications ensure that you constantly have the need or feel the urge uh, to stay hooked onto the application. So this is something new, and I would like to pick that aspect of this, because Zoom fatigue has become real. Zoom fatigue is something that a lot of us are experiencing, and if we can have preventive measures or help my youngsters, interactors, and Rotaractors understand and take effective measures for this, more than happy, because it will ensure that they're living a more balanced life. Having said that, yes, thank you so much. And there are a few Rotaractors, and I'm sure I'll reach out to clubs, but waiting for what action items as Rotaractors and interactors we can pick up. And very happy to have sessions around these. We could even do gamified sessions on these. I have a few thoughts around that. And Yogesh Uncle, whenever we can speak, I'm sure we could have multiple sessions in clubs and activity-based sessions for clubs to understand these things.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you, Ojas. And I thank DG Sunil Mehra also. Maybe he may not be able to attend for the full session, being tired with the yesterday late night and today morning program. But as far as possible, try to be with us, Sunil.
There are also 2 more events I have to attend.
I know. That's why I'm trying to propose a vote of thanks to you right now, so that you can leave in between. And also, Ojas is a very, very busy person because a lot of installations are going on. But as long as you can attend, we'll be happy for your attendance. Thank you. And now we are moving to our purpose for this evening, for listening to Gaurang Chandarana. He is a member of Rotary Club of Chandivali, and in fact IPP of Rotary Club of Chandivali, Mumbai. And thankfully to the Chandivali, Mumbai, that this program is being hosted by them, and we are having one of the finest program for this evening. Gaurang is basically qualified as a MMS, and he was working at a various senior level in the banking industry. As he shared with me, he was himself addicted at the age of 30 years, and almost for 15 years he struggled to come out of the addiction. Fortunately, the Rotary platform gave him an opportunity to come out from the addiction. And now I would like him to be addicted with the Rotary and try to help us for de-addiction. His addiction resulted into clinical depression, various suicide attempts, and psychiatric treatments were required by him. Incidentally, he has overcome all that addiction and he is presently a soft skill trainer, certified national level yoga instructor, certified nutritionist, and wellness expert. He is also Six Sigma belt and he has written very nice 3 e-books on the subject of Indian philosophy, addiction, stress management. His addiction book I am going to put onto the website for the Rotary Action Group addiction prevention for the benefit of other districts also and all those people who are interested in reading that book. On personal front, he is single, living with parents, and he is utilizing his time because of the COVID, working from home in a lot of reading, cooking, and enjoying his hobbies. Over to you, Gaurang.
Okay. Thank you so much, Yogesh ji. Thank you, everyone. I will not waste more time and quickly start. Just one moment. Please let me know if you can see.
Yes, we are able to see and you are audible.
Okay, great. Thank you. So everyone, welcome to this program on de-addiction. I would like to thank PDG Ajay Gupta, PDG Harjeet Singh Talwar, Rotarian Yogesh Javeri, DRR Ojas Joshi, and of course our one and only DG Sunil, and all the dignitaries, senior Rotarians, presidents, members, friends, our very own Rachna Rai, Nutanji, and members of Rotary Club of Chandivali. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present in front of you today. As everyone has mentioned before, this is a very crucial and critical problem for India. My approach has been a little different. I have already done some of these workshops and they are very well received. I bring an inside out approach. So all the people who are talking about drug addiction are talking about people who've never used it and never come out and never spoken about it. I'm coming out as a user. And after that, I've done some research, gone in depth, met people, and tried to put a different perspective or a different spin to the whole thing. So that is what I'm going to attempt to present in the next 30 minutes or so. Also, I would like to thank Urushali and Ruhi, who supported for design and for the logistics. Ruhi and Rachna will be taking questions. So anyone if has questions can keep typing all along and they will collate. And at the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A. So quickly, let's start off. This is divided into 7 or 8 parts, and I'd rather you go through it than I talk about it, right? This is my standard disclaimer, which is very, very important because a lot of times when we talk about such a sensitive topic, some people get touchy, some people think we are trying to promote drugs, etc. No, that is not the case at all. It is on the contrary. We want to bring the issue to the forefront completely. What are the objectives? Now I'll start putting some numbers because I have a corporate and management background. I've made it like a corporate style presentation and I hope it works well with all of y'all. Soon this problem is going to cross, or this business, 5% of India's GDP and grow exponentially. It is massive. Okay, so all that you read about in the papers and all is fine, but the problem is actually much larger than we think it is. Second is, this is not a supply problem alone. People think बहुत सारे peddlers है, सब push कर रहे हैं, पाकिस्तान से आते हैं, terrorism फैलाने, सब गलत है. Okay, सब गलत है. Maybe some border areas here and there. Now everything is homegrown, made in India, distributed in India by Indians to make money. not for any other reason. So let's get this out of the head that this is a foreign hand. This is a multi-layered complex issue with shades of gray. There is no right or wrong. We need to leave aside morality and religion. And society has to get together and collaborate. When we progress in this presentation, आपको पता चलेगा कि चाहे यूजर हो या पेडलर हो, वो अपने आप से बाहर अपनी मर्जी से निकल नहीं सकता. उसको बहुत सारा सपोर्ट चाहिए. People like you and me have to get together. It has become a social issue. It's not an individual issue. So don't believe the media goings on. Yes, this has come under highlight and scanner in the Sushant Singh Rajput case and drug mafia and everything. As you go along, I'll share with you some very, very interesting facts about this business, okay, which no media will tell you and no politician will allow you to know. Okay. Why think I'm appropriate to speak about this is because my personal experience trumps analysis, right? I've done it for so long, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you want to call it. So I've got a whole lot of personal experiences. I've interacted with multiple drug users and dealers over time, even after I got out of it, because I was interested in the issue. There are online global drug users forums. You'll be surprised, with hundreds of people. There are forums which tell you how to take drugs. There are forums with users who tell you how to get out of it. Okay, so as someone rightly mentioned, when it's internet, you can use it and misuse it the way you want it. I choose to use it now, and it is beautiful, right? The kind of support groups which are available. Of course, there is an understanding which I need, which I required on why it happens and all that. And so therefore I dug deep into it. I also went through 3 psychiatrists for solutions, and you will be shocked to know 2 of them did not know how to handle this issue at all. And I was almost kind of shunted out. And one of them told my parents, "Iska kuch nahi ho sakta hai, ye 6-7 saal mein mar jayega, abhi chhod do aap usko." And that was the conversation. After that, I was so upset for the next 3 months. I was almost every alternate day doing stuff, right? And it was a big problem. So I think RAGAP is doing a brilliant thing of first training the front line of medical professionals. Okay, I'll just give you a quick small story. Everyone has heard about it. I'm giving a small twist to it. कलयुग का समुद्र मंथन, राइट? और ये है अमृत और जहर की कहानी. जब समुद्र मंथन होता है या अमृत मंथन, तो बहुत सारा अमृत निकलता है और देव और दानव झगड़ा करते हैं. मोहिनी आती है, who's विष्णु भगवान का अवतार, और वो छीन के देवों को पिला देती है. फिर बहुत सारा जहर निकलता है अंदर से, समुद्र में से, लेकिन जहर पीने वाला कोई नहीं है. सो शंकर भगवान कम्स और जहर पी जाते हैं सारा, और जो जहर पी जाते हैं वो गले में अटकता है और नाम पड़ा नीलकंठ. आज के कलयुग में क्या है, ये अमृत और जहर एक ही है, और वो है ड्रग्स. पहले अमृत का काम करेगी, बाद में जहर उगलेगी, लेकिन वो जहर पीने के लिए नीलकंठ नहीं है. हम ही को पीना है, हम ही को भुगतना है. और दुविधा ये है, अमृत हमें मरने नहीं देगा और जहर हमें जीने नहीं देगा. This is the summary of drug abuse or any kind of substance abuse, right? So let's move on and see what happens with Amrit. This is just one slide. आपने पिक्चरें देखी है, बहुत कुछ देखा है, बहुत कुछ होता है. Happiness, partying all night long, 7 days. So I have partied 7 days and nights without sleeping. You'll be surprised, and I don't feel tired. Okay, you feel happy. You are interacting with hundreds of people. You are traveling. You are doing anything which you think you can ever do in your life. The world is at your feet. After that, Hangover movie आप लोगों ने देखी होगी. There was a movie called Hangover. You suddenly realize there are gaps in your memory. What did I do 3 days back? What was I doing for the last 4 days? Why did I wake up 100 kilometers away from my house? Why do I see my porn films on the internet on certain sites? I don't know. Who's blackmailing me? Who's stolen my phone? I've got a black eye. I've hit someone. All kinds of crazy things happens. But after that, it phases down, again you want to go high. Okay, so it's a cycle and a very dangerous one. Why do people take drugs? That is a big question. Now, I would like to give you a feeling, because it's very easy to blame drug users or substance abusers, right? कि क्यों लेते हैं, weak-minded लोग लेते हैं, ऐसा है, वैसा है. No. So I would just like to take 1 minute of your time, give you a feeling. This is not to promote drugs or say it's good and you should do it, but it is how we feel. And I'm using the we, not now, but this community and why they continue. Just shut your eyes for 1 minute, if you can, wherever you're sitting, and think of the best experience of your life, or the best 2 experience of your life, your best meal you ever had. the best holiday you ever had, either with your spouse or with your family, the highest high you felt when you won some award and there were 500 people in front of you and clapping for you, or your honeymoon night, or whatever it is. Just think. Now multiply this by 500 or 1000. And I'm not kidding. That is what happens to your head when you're taking the substances. I mean, who wants to go down? Who wants to come back? I always want to remain there, right? That is what happens. So it's easy to blame people, but this is what happens. Now, are you excited? Do you want to know if you're going to be an addict? What I have done is there is a questionnaire which I've prepared, I've circulated in advance to everyone. In your free time, go through it, do it yourself, administer it to people. You need not share your results. It has been vetted by a psychiatrist, one of the leading ones in Mumbai, and I have administered it to a lot of people. And you will be surprised, you will get a 60-70% plus success rate of finding out if someone is going to be addicted to anything, okay, internet or substance, or if they're going to get a mental health issue. Very important. So it's not just addiction, the two are connected. If you start getting stressed, you may get into drugs or substances. If you're doing substances, you may go mental. That's a big issue over here. So please take time out for this. Okay, now I spoke about Amrit. Now let's see what happens with Zehar. First use itself, especially all the hard drugs, the synthetic chemical hard drugs, permanent changes in the brain damage have been observed from the first use itself. Okay, it cuts off and destroys some parts of your brain, especially your prefrontal cortex, parts of your hypothalamus, and new neurons grow in certain other parts of the brain. So your brain is getting restructured. Okay, so your reward systems change. Now that is very important to know. So once you get into this and you do a few uses after the first one, things kind of start going out of your will and control because something else is taken over. That is very important. That is another reason why willpower does not work here. Okay? There is dramatic fat and weight loss. Initially you feel good, I'm becoming slim and trim and everything. Lekin baad mein, you are in trouble. You become thin, scrawny, like you just see in the movies. You literally become like crazy thin. There is increased sensitivity to stimulus. There is reduced pain perception. Your pain levels go down by as much as 70% plus. Can you imagine? So I've gone through things where I could actually cut myself. I'm bleeding and I don't feel anything. That's what happens. It's crazy. Mood swings, emotional disturbance, hallucinations. Most important, permanent kidney, liver, and heart damage. Whatever nonsense I've done, I'm healthy now because I'm a little younger. I'm fit. I exercise, but I know ये damage शुरू हो गया है, कुछ ना कुछ होने वाला है. So be prepared for it. There is automatic social distancing happening. You don't like to interact with society because you're on a high.
It's 5
If you're
o'clock.
not on a high, you are in depression, one of the two. And the way you behave, society does not interact with you. Okay, so it becomes a cycle and you go deeper and deeper into your hole. You are in a constant state of depression when you're not high. So it seeks you for more and more highs. And this has been found gradually it leads to clinical depression or schizophrenia and eventually lowering of lifespan. Now this is permanent or long-term damage. If anyone tells you otherwise, they are wrong. So yes, you are enjoying, you got Amrit, it's phenomenal, blah, 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 but be prepared for this. That is temporary, this is permanent. Okay, so this is the contrast between the Amrit part and the Zehar part. Now, this can't happen to me, it can't happen to my family. हमारा घर तो ऐसा नहीं है, हमारे तो सब शरीफ है, बच्चे बूढ़े सब ऐसा है. Please think, I have put up this slide as a warning sign for all of you all. Alcoholism, drugs and substance abuse and mental health issues in the next 10 years are going to hit 1 out of every 4 Indians. And most of them are going to be below the age of 16, 1-6. It is crazy what we are talking about, which means most of India is going to be bevda, druggy or mental. And we do not want that. Okay. So please think twice. If it thinks, no, this is something which happens to someone else. No, sorry, it happens to you. Even I thought it could never happen to me. Okay, if you look at my background pre-drugs, okay, people used to swear by me. But yes, I got into it. Now, why does it happen is another reason. We constantly seek that is good for ourselves and for peace of mind. A lot of people veer towards religion, become fanatics. Some people go to drugs. And some people get stressed and start falling ill. This is being driven by high levels of stress, pollution, performance issues, etc. So people are going to find shortcuts. Drugs is a shortcut. Okay. So let's prepare people. So big part of prevention is going to avoid people taking these shortcuts. Find out if they have a problem and address that at the root itself. Do not let it fester. I'll take you through a history, Itihas of drugs, very interesting, which I found. It is more than 15,000 years old. And the kind of things which are happening, I've just put up this quick slide. I won't go through it in detail. In Europe, in Orient, in Southeast Asia, in South America, Middle East, Africa, India, everywhere there were different types of drugs and plants available which are used. There is a tomb in China where earlier they used to bury people with all their possessions because they could use it in the afterlife. There have been tombs found with bhang inside, cannabis. Now, can you imagine? I'm talking about 5,000 years ago. 9,000 years ago, there were plants which are available even today. They taste like tea. You boil them like tea and drink it, and you are high for 12 hours. There are plants which are used as medicine, but when you ferment them, they become drugs. So many of such things are available. I've just put down a list: psychedelic, DMT, peyote, coca. Coca plant is from what cocaine is made. Thermal extract, cactus, different types of cactus, scorpion poison, snake poison. India was a hub and is a hub today in history and now for snake poison. Very few people know that. We'll talk about it as we go along. We've all heard of the Greek poet Homer, who wrote Iliad and Odyssey. He was a drug user, and he was a user of Blue Lotus. Blue Lotus is the ancient version of MDMA, and he's written this fantastic line: once tasted he desire felt, he come with tidings back no more, or seek his country back no more. उसका कहने का मतलब ये है कि ये चीज़ एक बार मिल गई, लग गई, मुझे और कुछ नहीं चाहिए लाइफ में, घर भी वापस ना जाना नहीं है, लोगों से मिलना नहीं है, बातचीत नहीं करनी है. Okay, so there are two ways to look at it. Of course, that you're that high, but it kind of cuts you off from life. Let's quickly move on to the 4 or 5 P's of marketing. In marketing, there are 4 P's: product, price, place, promotion. Here I've added one: product, price, person, place, and promotion. Why person? Because there is a target segment, and I've tried to make a structure around it after all the work and research I've done at the ground level. Okay, this is all, and a lot of it you'll also find on the net. I've just put some management structure around it so we understand it better. What are the kind of products available right now, okay, in India and the world? There's just one laundry list, right? There could be 1 or 2 more, there could be 1 or 2 less. So broadly, if you look at categories, there are the plant-based products: cannabis, marijuana, coca, and other plants. There is tobacco. It's a separate category and more addictive than alcohol. There is coffee. The biggest, most abused substance now in the USA is coffee, and people are getting addicted just like drugs. So please beware. If you start having more than 3 cups of coffee daily because it's COVID, please keep track. We are moving towards a very druggy mode. Alcohol, we all know, right? As DG Sunil also mentioned, your 2 pegs a day is fine. But if you can't survive without 5 pegs a day, then you better go and see a doctor. There are people who are now getting drugged on prescription drugs, painkillers, sleep medicines, antidepressants, cough syrups. We've all heard of that. There are OTC products which you just take and pop. Okay, so that's a big problem. Then there are petroleum products and aromatics, okay, which are like nitrates, smelling salts, balms, and all of that, which tend to be used more by children. And there are designer and synthetic hard drugs. Okay, these are separate from your plant-based drugs like ganja, hashish, marijuana. The effect is different. They are deadly, which is MDMA, pure crystal, cocaine, ketamines, ecstasy, LSD, GSB, smack or brown sugar, and all those other things which you hear about. Completely crazy, and this has to be the focus area. This is what I'm talking about, is increasing rapidly and exponentially. Okay, and by category, I've just put down, they could be hallucinogens, sleep memory retainers, and all that. A lot of them are now used by school and college children for exams, because you have to study nights long, so they take it. But once you take it, after the exams are over, unfortunately, you need to continue with it. So please, before you ingest something, think twice. Okay, there's just some interesting trivia. As I mentioned, the fastest growing addictions in India are coffee and energy drinks. Energy drinks are taking place in a big way in terms of abuse. All those cans, 80-90 rupees, those Red Bull types and other brands which come, completely and strictly avoidable, because they have up to 4 to 5 tablespoons worth of coffee and 4 tablespoons worth of sugar. It is deadly. Okay, it just hits you. And that is why kids and youngsters take it. Okay, because then they can tell them, oh, I don't have alcohol. I'm such a nice person, I don't do drugs. But you're doing energy drinks and coffee. The most popular street drug is brown sugar or smack. Hardest drug known to man is snake poison for centuries, and the biggest hub in India for that is Delhi. Okay, which is very shocking and surprising, but yes, that is what it is. Now there are expert laboratories, underground laboratories have come up, researchers who come, different types of molecules have been experimented on. Last I checked, there were 250 different molecules available and getting commercialized. Now they use the same terminology. There is testing, there is commercialization, there is market launch, and all that is happening now in this category. There are different delivery mechanisms. People find that when you inject intravenously and all, it causes a lot of damage and other problems. So inhalers and all are now gradually coming out. The first legal drug is a ketamines-based drug launched by Johnson & Johnson in the USA, where if you think you need drugs, you think you want to go high, you are completely depressed, you can go to a doctor, you get an inhaler, okay, which can only be used once in a week. There is a locking system, and the doctor prescribes it, and you can officially and legally inhale, right? And it has been found to help a lot of people and also help them off hardcore drugs. Now I'm putting price estimate. This is the pricing strategy and how pricing works. This is very interesting. A lot of it is available on the net. And a lot of people have asked me, that it's so expensive. What this is just a brief. The cheapest right now is brown sugar. It was the most expensive in the 80s, but now it has gone to street level. So when it goes to street level, you have to keep it cheap. So you get one dose for 100, 150 rupees. That's it. Okay. That's all you need to get high in the city of Mumbai and Delhi. You have marijuana, you have hashish and ganja, you have cocaine, which is 4,000 to everything is per gram, 4,000 to 6,000, heroin, 7 to 8,000, different types of meth, MDMA, high quality, pure crystal or rocks, crazy stuff. You take it 2-3 days in a row. And very recently, I can't mention names, it was reported in the papers, some 3-4 people in our area committed suicide because of hallucinations. Then the new entrant in Mumbai is called Punjab MD. Again, another very deadly substance, which is very highly priced, which is entered in a large way in Mumbai. Then you have ketamines. Ketamines are a new molecule. So it has got launched simultaneously, officially by Johnson & Johnson and unofficially by the underground drug system. You have LSD. LSD is available per dot. A dot is a very small, thin plastic film. It's so tiny. It is normally put behind a stamp or in an envelope, so no one knows you're having it. You just take it and lick it or put it on your tongue. 30 seconds, 10 hours you are high. That's it. So 1500 rupees, 1800 rupees. Okay. Widely and hugely available in all areas of Mumbai. You have ecstasy. We heard of ecstasy pills, which are used for partying. You pop in a pill and 4 or 5 hours you party. It's 500 rupees. And snake poison is the most expensive, at going from starting at 10,000, going up to 20,000 rupees per gram. And what is the pricing strategy? The stronger the product, more expensive the product, the longer the high in terms of time duration. Therefore, if you do a rough calculation, to be high in India, anywhere, you just need 500, 800 rupees a day. And therefore, it's becoming very attractive for the younger generation to pick this up. You'll be surprised there are people who never touch alcohol, they never do tobacco, they don't do non-veg, they are only doing drugs. Because to go out and party twice a week in a city like Mumbai, Delhi and all, you go out every time you spend 1,500 rupees. If you do that 8-10 times in a month, you're spending 15 to 20,000 rupees, especially the young working segment and the well-off college students. But if you're doing drugs, you're just spending 8-9,000 a month, right? So this is the pricing strategy. Also, economies of scale are kicking in this industry. So price increases are not happening frequently, right? So the same drug you are buying will be available at the same price now. Now they accept payments. You'll be surprised, through online wallets, online payments and wallets, right? So there are legitimate fronts which have come up, and you can pay through that. And there are certain websites available. I can't share what, who, why, how, where, which are widely used for genuine businesses, and people are listing their businesses here. Of course, very surreptitiously, but if you know the codes, which keep changing, you can order something pure amphetamines from a pharmaceutical company delivered in your house, okay, through courier, and it comes as a medicine. All that happens, and now the smart dealers are having good credit terms, and they are giving installment plans for select clientele. Right? So you remain hooked on. Now, who is the segment who uses drugs, right? And now this is again very interesting. It breaks a whole lot of myths and barriers. Typical age group now in India starts at 10 years, 9 years or 10 years, which has been found. Okay, and goes up to 50, 55 years on an average. Male, female, transgender, straight, gay, bisexual, any other types, everyone takes. Super rich to poor to street dwellers. From luxury housing dwellers to rural household to people staying on the slums are taking it. All the media is going Bollywood, 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 Bollywood. Bollywood is 2% of the problem. 98% is out on the roads over there. Okay, and that needs to be tackled. Blue-collared executives, white-collared executives, everyone does it. Okay, so I'm just trying to highlight this over here. Who is your average drug dealer? Very interesting. They are getting increasingly more and more sophisticated and well-dressed and educated. They are aware of marketing and sales techniques. I've come across a postgraduate drug dealer, okay, surprisingly, and staying in a fancy apartment in Mumbai. I can't say who, what, why, how, where. Also, a lot of them are now moving to drugs because business is down. They were anyway partying with their friends. So now they buy in bulk and they supply. The additional side income ho gaya. Okay. They are technologically aware. And dealer profiles are changing. It could be your next door neighbor. Now, why are more and more people getting attracted towards dealing in drugs, if not using? If you're hardworking, honest, do not adulterate or mix your product, which is called cutting in the drug business, and you do not cut your product, you can earn anything from minimum 2,000 to 20,000 a day after all expenses, tax free, right? Who would not want to get into such a business? If you're not using, you don't care what happens to the other person. And therefore, you find a whole lot of young peddlers, 18 to 21, 22, who are getting into this to supplement their incomes, their pocket money, and so on and so forth. So it's becoming a very challenging space and also very interesting. Location, this is the place part or the distribution part. Doorstep delivery, anywhere in the top 10 metros of India, and specifically Bombay, within 2 kilometers radius of your current location, within maximum 1 hour. Within 1 hour. In bars, nightclubs, restaurants, in 5-star hotels, basically anywhere at your home or office or where you go for entertainment. Timings in general, 12 noon to 2 a.m., 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And orders can be placed through phone calls, WhatsApp, and dating and social apps. Your regular ones, not the underground ones. Okay, again, there are codes and profiles and all where a user knows whom to tackle and touch base with. Okay, quite interesting. So now if you look at this, and after the next slide, I'll tell you, yes, this is how it runs. In every city, for every product, now there are different channels for each product. For LSD is different, for cocaine is different, for MDMA is different. No one does multi-drugs. Okay, that is only in Bollywood because someone comes at the top, because a film star will not go to 10 different people, right? So that's a different story. So you have a stockist or a super stockist and a manufacturer. Certain products come from abroad, certain are made here. So there is a stockist who has a wholesaler. Wholesaler has divided, let's say, Mumbai into pin codes, actually. Okay, and area-wise pin codes, there are dealers who are appointed with backups, and they in turn have packing and delivery staff. Imagine how smoothly this runs. And each pin code has a backup for each stockist. And if one stockist has less or wholesaler has run out of stock, they will approach the other one. So earlier they used to compete and kill each other, right? The gunfights we saw in the doubt times. Ye mera area hai, maar dalo. Area is there, but mera maal khatam ho gaya, I'll come to you. Tera maal khatam ho gaya, I'll come to me. Dhanda band nahi hona chahiye. Simple. And therefore, this runs like clockwork, like a matrix. You cut out one part of it, someone steps in. Okay, and that. So now this is the envy of any FMCG or a pharma company, fast-moving consumer goods. I think even Hindustan Unilever and Procter and Gamble will be proud of this kind of distribution channel and pricing strategy, right? That's how structured these people are getting. Promotions, how do promotions happen? Because it's underground, you can't advertise. What happens? These people circulate in parties everywhere, all the time. That's their job. You make friends in nightclubs, in bars, you influence bartenders, you influence bouncers, managers, and surreptitiously, you slowly start giving little bit, put something in a drink, please try out, and that's how it runs. Outside schools and colleges, at gymnasiums and health clubs, There are various online mechanisms I mentioned before. Okay, that's for the authorities to figure out what they are and take action. I've at one time, long time ago, I've also got pure heroin delivered from abroad through India Post, Speed Post Service. Okay, so everything happens, right? And of course, their biggest one is calling old clientele like me. Every 5-6 months, it's been some time, they will call me, sir, naya maal aaya hai, new variant has come, aapke liye 3 time free. Like imagine, because I've got hooked off to it, they want to hook me on. They're saying I'll give you 10,000 worth of stuff free, because they know if I take that, I'm back in the game, right? And they keep doing that all the time. The latest innovations to attract students are gel pens. So gel pens, the unbranded ones, they put some drugs inside. And when they don't work properly, they dry. They're purposely made that way. What you do is you have to, remember, you put on the tip of the tongue to write. Every time you put on the tip of a tongue and do this, the drug goes inside. It's very subtle, but you start getting high. Then you are only used to that pen. Say, यही पेन से मेरी अच्छी लिखावट होती है. कोई लिखावट अच्छी नहीं होती है, आपको ये चाहिए. Okay. And then you go and buy to the same shop and buy gel pens. The other one, which is the biggest racket in Hyderabad, they've apparently targeted 4,000 to 5,000 schools. And the new commissioner there is trying to do something about it. Middle income and lower groups, they don't get too much pocket money. Parents will give 10-20 rupees a day. They said, fruit le lo, acha hai. So they actually, poor souls go to buy fruit. The fruits are lightly brushed with some of these drugs. So you go and eat a fruit 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. Next time you won't like fruit from the other vendor or the one your parents give you at home. So every day you go and have one fruit and the parents are very happy. मेरा बच्चा बाहर जाके सिर्फ फल खाता है, लेकिन ये खा रहा है. Okay, so that's the big thing. And the other one is free sampling has started, like it happens in FMCG. Wherever they go, small, not 1 gram, but less than half gram, 0.1 gram goodies and all are circulated, right? So which people can try. The other thing, I will now move on to quickly on to myths and facts. Okay, and I'll try and shut down in 5 minutes and before time, because I'm sure everyone will have some questions and also a lot of us are tired. Drugs do not alter you at all. They just bring out your hidden desires or true nature. That is what I've found. जो आपके अंदर दबा हुआ है सबकॉन्शियस में, अनकॉन्शियस में, या आप कॉन्शियस में करना चाहते कर नहीं सकते ना, तो वो बाहर निकलता है. Okay, it's very interesting. And therefore, let's move on to some of the myths and facts. Weak or irresponsible people take drugs is a myth. Research is showing that in childhood, introverted, sensitive, and intelligent kids, when they grow up, tend to take to substances more. Surprising, right? Completely opposite to what we think. And I've come across multiple drug users and dealers from the absolute poorest of poorest strata in slums, who are super intelligent, uneducated, and discussing philosophy. Can you beat that? Sitting on the ground. And that happens. So a lot of these myths are there. There are no biological causes of myth. Research shows that you have genetic triggers like diabetes and heart and all those problems. The trigger is dormant, but given the right circumstances, the switch is put on and you're motivated to go and take. So now abroad researchers are saying, can you keep that gene switched off? Okay, so that is another aspect coming in. Those who can't stop have no willpower. As I already mentioned, your brain structure has changed. Every cell in your body is used to it. It is out of your control. You need something much more to come back into life. Okay, especially with these chemical drugs. The same is not the case of marijuana and weed. All these people just go and 1 kg weed, they go, or 10 kgs or 100 kgs weed, you go and confiscate. Nothing is going to happen. All of you over here can have all the weed you want and you won't get addicted. Okay, that does not mean you take it, right? But it's a very different way of dealing with it. So when you club it under your NDPS Act, they are doing a disservice to this cause. Weed and plant-based substances have to be put separately if you want to deal with this issue. Also, there is no bad or immoral issue. As you've seen in drug addiction, you do the maximum damage to yourself and to your family. So morality कहाँ है कि आ रही है? मैं मेरे को तकलीफ पहुंचा रहा हूँ, तो आपको क्या तकलीफ है? आपको तो मदद करनी चाहिए, right? So people say drugs are related to sex. Partly yes. I found a strong lack of relevant and responsible sex education in India, which is driving a lot of youngsters to experiment sexually, for which they take drugs, and which is a very, very big cause of concern because you indulge in unhealthy practices, and that can cause problems. Drugs can be stopped anytime. We mentioned, yes, it's a complex process, sometimes takes years. Drug users can't be more normal. Research has found that once you reintegrate a drug user, put them to work, they have been found to be more sincere, sharper, and better at their work than non-users. because they've gone through some experiences of life. They don't want to go there again. They said, जो मिला है अच्छा है, पकड़ के करते रहो. They become less ambitious. ये promotion चाहिए, पैसा चाहिए, गाड़ी चाहिए, सब खत्म हो जाता है. शांति से बैठो, काम करो. And which is interesting if you are able to harness this. Some people say नहीं नहीं हमने क्या बुरा काम किया था, पापो है पुराने जन्मों का, मेरे बेटे को हो गया, बच्ची को हो गया. Please don't panic. It's a disease. It can be cured. Very simple thing. And there are many people coming out of it. So anyone who gets into it, or parents need not worry. Most girls and ladies do not do drugs. They are the ones who are doing the maximum drugs now. Okay. No offense to any ladies over here, but this is the fastest growing segment. The other fast growing segment is married people, couple doing it together to have fun on weekends. I'm talking about India. And I'm also talking about places like Lucknow, Jaipur, and Ahmedabad. Okay, forget Bombay, Delhi. Well-settled professionals don't use drugs. All of them do. Abroad, there is a latest trend that if you don't go to weekend parties and do heroin or coke, you lose your big business contract, you may lose your promotion, you may lose your bonus. It is your call. Okay, big problem. Another myth is LGBT community uses it more. Big myth. They are only 2% or 5% of users. The balance 95% are straight people. Sincere students from good middle class families don't do it. Please wake up. The high performers who study 10 days without sleeping are probably taking something. So please be careful. Nothing happens in 1 or 2 uses. I have strong willpower. I'm great. Sorry. First use of a hard drug, first use is 100% addictive for every single person on the planet. Okay. Research has shown that. Please don't be some don, right? Rehabilitation programs are by rehabilitation I mean when you send away someone to those centers for 2 months and 3 months, they work 30 or 40% of the time, and after that they fail completely. Why? Because you cut them off from society in a isolated environment. So when they come back, they don't have that same situation. The idea is to bring them back from where they are. Again they'll come back, again they'll make the same druggy friends, again the same stress of life, again they'll get back. So don't take them away, keep them here and then deal with this situation. What are the challenges we are facing? Rapid growth of stress, pollution, mental health, sexual challenges, etc. All of that is part of the problem. There is increasing sophistication of this business. As I mentioned earlier, it's getting corporatized. There are qualified researchers now coming in the fray and coming out with lots of new products to bypass various narcotics acts in different countries. There is planned fragmentation of the market. As I mentioned, if Mumbai is divided into 40 parts, and each part has 2 drug dealers, and there are 10 types of drugs, and therefore there are 20 drug dealers in each pin code. Kitna bhag sakta hai? I mean, telling you NDPS or the National Narcotics Bureau, NCB or CBI or whoever what you see, how much can you run after how many people for how long is a simple question I have. पहले बॉलीवुड होगा, फिर टॉलीवुड होगा, फिर कॉर्पोरेट होगा, फिर स्ट्रीट होगा, तब तक इधर बन जाएगा. It's like a mushroom which keeps growing. Like an amoeba, it will just go wherever there is space. So the problem is a social problem. Authorities can only do so much. We have to do the rest. Okay. And there is also, of course, over the years, a blind eye or a less focus by administration. I'm not blaming them. But this was something people thought, नहीं, ये Indian culture नहीं है, Western culture है, हमारे यहाँ नहीं होता है. I think time we wake up. There's nothing Western. As you saw in one of my earlier slides, 15,000 years ago, we were using snake poison and somras. Somras is a drug. It's not alcohol. For information, right? And the formula is given in one of our scriptures. So it is there. It is part of your culture. We use bhang during festivals. All of that is there, right? So I think let's wake up and do something about it. There is social stigma. When I come out and speak like this, a lot of people told me initially that, oh, there'll be a problem for you, police will come after you and all that, right? But I was encouraged by my parents saying, we've gone through it, you have to go out and talk. So I'm talking. But a whole lot of people won't do that. What will my family think? What will my friends think in school or college, etc.? There is lack of infrastructure and trained professionals, but hopefully a lot of that is coming in. There are other NGOs also coming in, not just RAGAP, RACAP, which we are doing at Rotary. A lot of extortion happens, especially by the police. When you know you're a drug addict, they will threaten you with imprisonment and they will use you for money, for small crimes, for sexual abuse, for everything. And this is both girls and boys. Okay, so that's the other problem. There is also lack of sex education in the younger population. I think that is one of the biggest causes. Train them well, and a lot of your issues will get sorted in the drug side. Schools and teachers do not know how to handle this issue. They will either ignore it, brush it under the carpet, or if it becomes too obvious, they'll expel the student. That is not the way to deal with it. You have to help them reintegrate them. Okay, they are our people. They are not some other people who've come. They're not some enemy from across the border whom you need to brush away and let them die. Okay. This is what is the whole focus. All that I've been speaking for so long boils down to this. And this is what we have to open our eyes to. Street kids from 9 to 15 years old are made addicts and used for begging, for pedophilia, for child pornography, slave labor, thefts. Mumbai alone has an estimated 4 lakh such users. And forget all the adults and rich people and middle class and all. This is only street kids. 90% of all street children in Delhi take drugs. Just think of the figures. Estimated 50% of all kids below 15 in Punjab have tried or even today are doing drugs. All that the Congress government has said is all rubbish. As much drugs is happening there as it was 5 years back and 10 years back. Okay. And it's only growing. Now the next big hubs which are being targeted for kid addiction are Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai. And now I'm seeing a rapid increase in Ahmedabad. Pune is growing big time on the drug side. Coimbatore, Patna, Lucknow, and Northeast. You've seen right now in Manipur, a couple of 100 kgs of heroin and opium have been seized. For local use, please understand, in a place like Manipur, one seizure, 200 kgs for local use. Something is happening over here, which we need to open our eyes to. Some suggestion, decriminalize drug usage. That's the first thing. How will a drug user ever come out even if they want to take help? Because the moment I come out, I'll be put in jail because you're a drug user. Right now, all the media is doing, do this, do that. They are drug users. Don't treat them like criminals. Okay, whoever they are. You think all these Bollywood stars, once they got into the habit, now that we know through this presentation, it is very difficult even for them to get out of it, right? So it's easy to shout and scream and say, put them in jail. Put the sellers in jail, not the user. Okay, I think that's so stupid. I am the one who is a victim. You can't pick the victim and victimize them more. Okay, make drug addiction and other forms of addiction we spoke about, right, from internet to porn to everything, as part of school curriculums. That is super crucial. Okay, unless we don't do that, awareness will not come up with children. Now that we know that children are the ones who are targeted the most, and we already have lakhs and lakhs, 2-3 million plus in India, who are below 14, who are drug addicts. The problem is at your doorstep. Okay. Create specialization in medical education. As I said, I went through good psychiatrists who never knew how to handle this issue. Start creating support groups like Alcoholics Anonymous in your areas where people can talk freely. Okay, talking is a big part of therapy and it helps a lot. Okay, when I started talking to my friends, to family and all, it helped me get out. Okay, it's a slow process, but it happens. Train parents and teachers. Someone mentioned parents. I 100% agree. Because more than anyone, parents should not panic. They should not think it's bad. They should not think my children have gone bad. बॉस ये इशू है, आपको हार्ट प्रॉब्लम हुआ है, डायबिटीज हुआ है, दवा करनी है, बस, नो पैनिक, एंड इट हैपेंस properly most of the time. Okay, encourage and cultivate constructive hobbies. In most such cases, I found when I interact, people don't have hobbies, right? You're just loafing around. You're constantly on the internet. Do a constructive hobby, and if you get engaged with something, it pulls you up. Provide some meaningful work, even at a young age. Even if you're 10 years old, 11 years at home, make them feel responsible for the family, for whatever they are doing. Don't treat them as kids. They are kids, but give them something more, because they are more exposed to a lot of adult information. Let me put it that way. Not X-rated information, but adult. They're watching what's happening on TV and all. So they feel they're a little more grown up, right? And when we are 10 years old, I was 10 years old, I didn't know what I was doing. In fact, till I was 20, I didn't know what career to follow. And now when I speak to someone who's 12 and 13, they already know what they are going to become and working towards it. Okay, so we have to treat this differently. And some of it is connect with NGOs, prioritize jobs for people who've recovered. Very important. This has worked very well in places like Denmark and certain European countries where they have a system of jobs through the government. They put them in front of the queue. The moment these people get employed, they stop drugs. Awesome. Okay, because they want to feel part of society. They want to be integrated. So something can be done here. Subsidize researches in medicines for de-addiction. Most of them are imported, therefore they are expensive. A lot of them can be made here. And someone mentioned about some pharma company which has come up, and we can work on that. Cover this in government insurance schemes. Okay, so if addiction happens, at least in the lower strata, it should be covered, all the treatment and everything. Right now, we don't talk about it. And most important, which I feel, give a yearly free mental health checkup to every citizen of the country, not a drug checkup. If you have a mental issue, drugs will happen. But if you tackle the mental health issue while it is slowly building up. Okay, you can crack it over. So not all, but at least 10% of the people you are able to net, you reduce the problem dramatically. And most important, which I'm finding a big trend these days, and a lot of people who are my friends who are out of it and in drugs, you take them to babas and gurus and ashrams and priests and maulvis and buas and quacks and complete rubbish. They come back worse. Drug addicts are made to do meditation. I mean, I've never think so. And schizophrenic. I've never come across something more stupid in my entire life. Okay, because I'm myself a yoga expert and I train and certify teachers, so I know uh, we do stupid things. And I'm talking about big names, and we won't take those names to make money, right? They become worse. So Ayurveda does not help. Yoga helps because it helps you calm the mind and improve your immunity. So you become receptive to the treatment you are going to give. Yoga by itself will not cure it. Yeah. So yoga has benefits, but as a supplementary additional therapy. Because there is a well-established medical process to handle this via trained professionals. If you do A, B, C, D, 80% of the cases you get success. There will always be a 10-20% who will never respond to anything, and that's true for anything in life. Why drugs, And Rotary is already action with RAGAP. We've seen that. It will cover all kinds of addictions. De-addiction committees have been formed. Network of professionals are being created. There are globally tested and UN-approved programs being introduced for train the trainer, for teachers and medical professionals. Yogesh ji has taken the lead for that. And much more is going to happen over time for this very important issue. So my suggestion and recommendation, become a member of Rotary in your area or Rotaract if you already are not. If you're not or do not want to become a member, at least touch base with us and start working together in any way you can. If you have connections and associations, good psychiatrists in the legal system, some lawyers, some good judges, please reach out to us and help us and let us know, because we would love to get in touch with these people. We also need to bring a systemic change and a mindset change and not just give medicines and clinics, right? And if you want to volunteer for this cause in any fashion, get in touch with any of us. That would be my very strong recommendation to all of you. And last but not the least, I love putting up this slide. Okay, I've done multiple workshops. Addicts are not bad. If you look at me, if you call me bad, then I'm bad. If I'm not, then no addict is bad. It's as simple as that. Okay, it's a sweeping generalization, but yes, that's what it is. Be compassionate, be non-judgmental. Drugs are actually a symptom. They are not the cause. It's like any illness. You find the cause and problem goes away. Like this at the snap of a finger. Everything else is just around some support. Medicine is just support, right? It is like a non-communicable disease. Even if it cannot cure 100%, it can be managed. What do I mean with manage? You will take once a month or a one weekend party, and lifelong you do that and never go overboard and never do anything. Like the 2 drinks a week, which DG Sunil mentioned, right? That is also okay. So long as you're not becoming stupid and idiotic and able to run your life successfully, it is okay. I will give one example over here before I sign off. There was one gentleman who was a criminal. He put in jail. He became a drug addict. And for 10 years, he was a severe drug addict. He was released at the age of 62 out of jail. This is a true story. Then he didn't know what to do. And he started cooking some chicken and all. And his neighbor said, let's help this man who's come out of jail and trying to come out of drugs. And even though they had the means, they would buy cooked chicken from him and eat. And the word spread. And he started making more and more chicken. In 3 years, he had a chain, a fast food chain. And that fast food chain today is called Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay. So an old man, drug addict, after 60 years, after prison, after drugs, at the age of 65, can set up one of the world's largest multinational food chains. Anything can happen. Okay, so we seek your support for all of this in any way you can. These are my coordinates. Reach out to me in any which way you want. You want to just write to me, comment. You want a copy of my free ebook. It is going to be put on the website. But if you want it from me, please feel free. And I would last but not the least, thank everyone, all the co-hosts, all the organizers, once again to Vrushali, to Ruhi, to Rachna, to Nutanji, all of those who are attending. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes. So first of all,
Your voice is breaking, Rui.
It is audible?
Now
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, please, Rui, carry on.
Yes, sir. So first of all, everyone has appreciated your presentation,
Great.
and everyone requested that they want your presentation.
Okay. I'll send it to Rachna, and you can then disseminate it to everyone who's there on the call.
Yeah, okay, sir. And sir, one question is there, asked by Ekta Agarwalji. How can street children can afford this?
How can street children?
Can afford this?
Okay. So what has happened is there is something known as smack or brown sugar, and that is available from between 100 to 200 rupees per dose or per shot. It is only so much. Most of these street children make their own money today. Okay, they are racked because they're doing whatever. Okay, and they earn 300, 400, 200 rupees a day. Out of that, they go and buy this every day in the evening and have it. That is now become the norm for these kids, and that's how they afford it because they are uneducated. They don't have concept of savings. If they have 300 rupees in their pocket, they have 2 vada pavs in a day, for example, and they are left with 200 rupees. They don't know what to do with it. It's so much. Okay. So much money for them, and that's also a problem. So maybe someone should step in and also teach them financial education. भैया 200 रुपया है तो 150 कहाँ आप जमा करो? Maybe Rotary can help in that also, so that they don't have money in their hands to spend, and also they start building up their piggy bank.
So Gaurang, thank you very much for this presentation.
Yeah.
I think this was an awesome presentation, and the least I can say is that we are all proud of you, because it's
Thank
not
you, sir.
easy to share such experiences and come out with that you were yourself a drug addict, and now you have come out and you're doing so well, which we are very happy for you. And we are happy that you have joined Rotary, and Rotary is making a small contribution in your recovery. That is also good to know. And of course,
Rotary is Rajan played a major contribution to my recovery.
Yes.
Incidentally.
And like somebody has already said in the chat box, you take a bow, because it's a fantastic presentation. You have covered all aspects of it, and you have done a great job. We really admire you.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Gaurang, I would like to ask one question.
Sure.
Normally, it is being found that the peer pressure works in bringing the first addiction.
Yeah.
In majority of the cases.
Right.
In your personal case, what was the reason for getting into the trap of addiction?
Okay, I will answer this in two parts. Okay, first is peer pressure is now becoming a myth at all levels.
Okay.
Okay, that's one, because you have so much of exposure through internet and through various other means that you need not be into peer pressure. If you want it, you can do it. My reason, since you're talking openly.
Your voice has gone.
Nothing open now. It will come. I think it got muted. Gaurang, it got muted.
Now you are there.
I always wanted to try.
You are back now, please. Yeah.
You heard me. Okay, let me say so. Peer pressure is something which is now going out of the picture, if you ask me, in a very big way. Okay, it is one of the factors. Earlier it was 80% factor. Now it is probably 30%. Okay, so even parents need to be aware of that. Okay, there are many other routes and ways and how it enters into you. For me, I was in my late 30s, pretty well established, single, and to be very honest, since we are speaking freely, I always wanted to try it. So I went ahead and tried.
So it's a matter of curiosity.
It's a matter of curiosity. And a lot of people are doing it because they are curious. And that we forget.
So to deal with the curiosity, the awareness is going to play a very important role.
Awareness is massive because, and I think more and more people like me should be encouraged by Ragap. We'll come in touch with a lot of people, right, when you go. We should actually encourage them that you come and give the talks. Why is a psychiatrist giving a talk? That's my question.
Correct.
Let 15 minutes in every webinar be from different of them. Okay, so when it comes from me, when I said it's fantastic, when I started my presentation, it's beautiful. It's 1,000 times your best experience, but it's ruined me. Now, when it comes from me that it's ruined me, it's going to have an impact. And I think that's the only way to deal with it.
Yogesh bhai,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yogesh bhai, this is Rotary and Girish.
Yeah, Girish.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
please.
Yeah, Gaurangji, it was a wonderful, eye-opening presentation.
Thank you so much, Girish.
Thank you very much for that. I have a couple of questions. First
Sure.
is there any possibility that a drug addict who has come out of the that particular problem
Right.
can go back? I mean, can the problem
Relapse.
recur? And
Oh,
yeah, and
relapse. Many times.
for any reason, how that can be prevented? That is number one.
No, you can't
And
prevent.
number two, would you be available yourself if any such program of awareness in colleges, schools is arranged for?
I am for this. I am always available. As I
Because
also
as you
shared with
rightly
Yogesh,
mentioned that, instead of a psychiatrist or a doctor talking about it, if a person who has, like you, if he talks about it, it will be much more effective.
it will be. I'm always available, sir. No issues at all.
Girish,
And from,
incidentally, is a part of our committee.
yeah, de-addiction committee. So
Yeah.
And Gaurang, I must confess and tell that you brought out a lot of information even to me. So
oh, okay.
yeah, I'm involved
quite
for so many years, but your information were quite useful and very, very meaningful. So your involvement in the addiction prevention is going to be really very, very helpful. And we look forward to utilize your potential to work for prevention.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to it. That's why I was very happy and excited when I found my name suddenly over there in the de-addiction.
Good.
Gaurang, can I put Yogeshji one question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. First of all, excellent presentation. I join everybody complimenting you, Gaurang, because it has come from your heart. One thing you mentioned that all these drugs and particularly the cannabis have been used in India for ages for 1500 years, and even now half of the most of the sadhus are taking ganja. All these in the villages I have seen the people taking bhang, and it is socially. All these are socially accepted. Now, if they're socially accepted, should this be, legalized? Should it be? Today it is illegal, and therefore a lot of things are happening, and all these they are being treated as criminals, whereas not. So, what do you think that should be the attitude of the government or the NCB towards this thing?
I will answer this in two parts, Udayji. After having gone through this very closely, and after having gone outside the moral, immoral kind of issues, right, and religious issues, I have certain radical views on the subject. But one thing I agree with you, that things like bhang, cannabis, etc., should be dealt with legally. They can be immediately be not legalized, but not be penalized. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
That is also a big change, if you ask me. At least don't catch those people and put them in jail or apply penalties. If that also happens, I think we would have made a brilliant beginning. Okay, and then come to the hard drugs and deal with them later.
Okay. One question, please.
Yeah. Haji Captain.
To recommend, how do you clean the vegetables of the drugs applied on them? Fruits on the fruits.
Yeah. Okay. So typically, how this happens is that the fruit does not go home, right? These are sold outside schools in carts. So when you run out of school, remember earlier we used to go and have those khatta imli and amchur, am papad and all that. Okay. So these days kids go and run out and have all that because they have 5 rupees or 10 rupees or something in their pocket. Okay. Or those langda am, they take one arm and start enjoying that. Even all of us enjoy. So it is done there itself. So there is no question of being able to wash it. And what these people smartly do is first they clean it so it looks nice and shiny. So people think it is a nice clean fruit. And then it's lightly brushed. Okay, there is some chemical, so it sticks to it. So even if you apply water, unless you actually put it in water and rub it properly, it will not go. That's how it is done. Okay, so these are techniques which do not allow the drug to rub off the product, basically.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, sir.
If there are no questions further, I can request Rachna or Nutan to propose vote of thanks.
And yes, so there are a whole lot of other questions are there. I something but later.
Okay, are we done? Or
Yes.
is there any other question? Okay, Gaurang, in the first place, before I get over the formalities, it was a very, very informative talk, and I've been wanting to listen to you for quite some time. And I worked very hard to get some schools on board, and everything went well. But I think that trustees got chicken feet at the last. They really got cold feet, and yeah, and they said they want to send their teachers. Now I don't know if their teachers joined or not, but I can understand where they're coming from, because as you told me, the subject is such. And I do hope that some have come and joined, because that would give us more inroads into the schools, for which I've been looking for a long time with discussions with you. Okay, having said that, I can take 1 second or maybe 1 minute and say that what really touched me about your talk was where you said about the government insurance thing. You said that there should be an insurance scheme for this. That was really something which I thought was a answer. And also in school for mental health, which has started in certain schools, mental health, but it's not picked up. So that is another factor where we can pick on. And the street children saving, which I think Rotary can really do something in that aspect, for street children saving. Okay, then I would like to actually now thank all of you for being here. Thank DG Sunil, PDG Ajay, PDG Harjeet Singh, and Project Director Yogesh, district dignitaries, and Rotary Club presidents, and presidents of our co-hosts, and of course Gaurang. Thank you so much. And we really enjoyed the talk, and we hope we can make some more inroads into society as such with this. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rachna.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Yogesh. Bye.
Bye. Okay, bye.